Hello and welcome. This is Zane Smith with Smith Family Gaming, and we're going to work on getting Gandalf painted up today. So I'm going to move the camera around. Let's take a look and see what we can get done. Alright, well, I don't know how much I'm going to get done tonight. It is almost 11:30. Granted, it is a Friday night, but when you got kids, it doesn't matter what day of the week it is. You never have a break. Weekends are meaningless, and they tend to wake up at like odd times, like 5 o'clock in the morning every morning, and yeah, that's awful. So anyway, I'm gonna have to go to sleep before too much longer. So we're only going to do a little bit of painting on Gandalf. So scale75 did send us yeah, they did send me some paints, that's correct, but they also sent me some paintbrushes. So I'm going to try to use their paintbrushes. They're probably a little bit better than the ones I have been using. The ones I've been using have been kind of, you know, well-loved, we'll call it that, well-loved paintbrushes. So we're going to use their nice #1 synthetic. It's actually got a pretty, we can't see it, pretty nice point to it. Move some of these guys out of the way. We're gonna get a couple of these colors out. I'm thinking that if we go ahead and we paint the skin colors now, will probably be doing better than if we were to paint something else. So I'm going to try to do skin colors first. So we're going to go with, I'm going to start out with the dark human flesh color, and we're going to paint it all human flesh, every little bit of it, and then we're going to come over that with a little bit of this phoenix egg, you know, just to I just highlight the you know, nose and the cheekbones and the fingers and that sort of thing to give it kind of a little bit of a pop. Since we did discover that you can do that, and it's not just, you know, a big lie. You can literally do that. I don't know if you saw it very well in the last video, but it did show up, and it does look like you can paint over it with another thing. And once again, I have forgotten to shake my paint before I started with you guys. That's okay. I'm not going to give it a big, heavy shake. I don't think I need to. It's pretty thin. That ball in there does a pretty good job. It's kind of had a chance to warm up just a little bit. And so I think that the paint's a little bit better now than it was when I first got it out of the package. Out of the package, 10-degree weather that it was sitting in for God knows how long, you know. And it probably wasn't the friendliest to my paint. So we're going to go ahead and get this started here. Let's get a little bit of that out, a fair amount. I'm going to go ahead and get that phoenix egg out also. And we're going to put a little bit over on this area here, and we'll go from there. Super easy cleanup, by the way, on this palette. I just scraped it out with my chewed off fingernails. I don't chew my fingernails. That was just that I keep them kind of short sometimes. Alright, here we go. And we'll put a little bit on there, like that. And we'll get to work here. So, I need paper towel. We're going to wick off excess as we go. That way it does not overflow into areas that we do not want it to go. So, we're going to take it. We're going to go on his face. And maybe wick a little bit off first, just a little bit. Alright. Use that nice little point. Get his cheek. Got a little bit of an eyebrows up there too, so I'm pretty high up in there. Don't know that I'll be able to get him with my paint brush, but I may be able to. I'm taking my time. trying to get it without going everywhere. Even though the other colors should be darker, should cover up whatever kind of horrible mistake that I make, if I make any. But the less mistakes, the way I figure it is, the less mistakes you make now, the less you gotta fix later, right? Or like I tell the guys at work, if you don't know how to do it, you can't do it right, then don't even bother doing it. If they're watching these videos, which they may be, because I did tell them about this and everything else, they're like, yeah, that's true, he is a big jerk. So, nah, they love me. Everybody loves me. Who am I kidding? Okay. Oh, see, little mistake there. We're gonna take a little bit of that off there. I bet with a wet brush I can scoop up a little bit of that. Yep, and get right rid of it. That has worked out pretty nicely, and it still got it on his lip. That is a pretty dark undercoat to try to get that light color on him. So we may need another coat of this on that, but that's okay. Oop, probably should have wicked some of that off there. We'll move it around a little bit. Alright. That's working pretty nice there. Hopefully my fat head isn't in the way so you guys can see alright. A darn old noggin in the way, is it? Almost like his finger. Maybe his thumb's supposed to be behind the sheath just a little bit because it doesn't look like it's quite there. But quite long enough, I guess, is what I was going for. So we'll probably let this dry. Oh, you know what? I meant to time this out and see how long it was going to take. I guess I can figure it out by looking at the timestamp on the video when we're done. We'll count it together over time. And I am going to probably spend, you know, a little bit more time on it, a little bit slower. And I do tend to go a little bit slower while I'm making videos, I notice, because I am trying to position it so you guys can see what I'm doing. Hence why I said the other day that I was thinking about getting a document camera, because then you could see right over the top of me and my big old dome wouldn't be blocking any light or anything of the such. So well, I'm gonna go back over that again. I like really thin coats there. That looks nice there. There we go. Yeah, 2 coats. Probably gonna just perfectly get that. And they did claim, you know, that it's only 1 coat, and I'm sure that you could, depending on, you know, what colors you used and everything else. You know, I just used 1 coat of that brown over that gray spider and it looked pretty good. So I mean, there's that. There was 2 coats of the gray, admit, so, but that was because it wasn't quite where I wanted it to be at. So it's all just depends on what you're happy with. Just like I've always said, if you're happy with the way something looks, then don't let anybody change the way you feel about that. You just be happy with you. I think I've got the hands. The face is giving me a little bit of heck here. You know, I kind of like where the hands are at. I might put a little bit more on it because, you know, like I said, with my priming, I'm not real great at, and I did speckle it with the white in areas. Not too bad on the hat or anything, but it did speckle on his hands a little bit, and a little bit in, you know, on his knee and kind of on his sheath just a little bit. So I definitely want to get enough to cover the speckle. I do not want speckle on him. Normally when I do a zenithal, I learned from a YouTuber was to use an ink, a white ink, and that'll help you keep from that speckling, because that speckling tends to happen with white. So, and it does work very nicely. Keeps that speckling way down. So now I've got to decide what color I'm going to next, because I need to let this dry a little bit if I'm going to add any more to it. I don't think I need to on some of it, you know, just on that speckling, that darn speckling. I think his face is pretty good, just need to let it dry a little bit. We're going to go with that. That took about 2 coats because his nose just kind of, I think, you know, I probably should have went with just the white, you know, and like I said, maybe should have went with white in areas where I wanted it to be lighter and was going to use lighter colors. And that's just all part of learning here on this. Every paint works just a little bit differently, so knowing that, you know, for next time will help out for my next project. So now, oh man, do I want to go ahead and try to do this this beard now? I don't think I want to do the beard or the hair yet, because I want to get the face done first, so that way if I drop a little bit of blop of this phoenix egg, right? Isn't that phoenix egg? Yeah, phoenix egg on there, and it falls down on his beard, I don't have to repaint it and then it look awkward on it. So for right now, we need to go completely away from our areas of skin. We could probably do his staff, which I think we said that we were going to do wild beast, and that sounds pretty good to me. I mean, wild beast sounds great. Let's go ahead and do that. And I was going to do a kind of a different color wise. I was going to do the endurance brown for his leather straps and what have you, and then I was going to go for a different color for the sheath and for the shoes. And I might do maybe a, you know, wild beast and a endurance brown mixture for the shoes, indoor sheath, go that route, or I might use some of this acrylic thinner or acrylic medium and try to get it where it needs to go. I noticed that sometimes, even though I am shaking the paint, and it's probably horribly annoying for you guys, I am rambling during that time, and maybe I'm saying stuff that's interesting enough to keep you interested and ignore my rattly ball. So, well, let's hope for that at least. So we're going to put this in wild beast brown right here on the staff. So we're going to go on her. I'm going to put it on kind of thick. Probably in a couple of thick coats. Might not even need the thick coats. Maybe one will do it for it. Watching my different YouTube videos, like I said, I've noticed that a lot of these instant colors, indoor, whatever you want to call them, contrast like paints, that if they go ahead and they mess up, they just have a little bit of white and go over it with white and go on the next step. which is fine. But I'm trying not to mess up too much. To me, in most difficult spots like I normally do, even when I'm painting with my normal paints, I normally would do, you know, something like the face first, because I tend to, you know, that's the hardest part for me. And so I try to do it first, get the hard stuff out of the way, come back in with nice and easy stuff, and can go from there on a nice click. So, and you know, I kind of like that. I mean, it isn't as dark as the other one, but I kind of like that a little bit. It looks like more of a maybe, I don't want to say driftwood, but pale wood color, which I kind of really like, with the kind of the grayish color of it. I'm gonna put it up a little bit closer, let you guys take a look at it along with his skin. We'll see what you guys think. Trying to keep it in the light though, so you guys can see it with the shadows. So yeah, it's that looks pretty. I like it. Yeah, I might add a little bit more. Oops, I didn't get any right there. To up in here. I mean, I don't know. I kind of really just like it the way it is. Oh, missed a little spot. Little spot I missed. Yeah, a little bit. But I think I like that. I think I'll go with that. Like I said, it's not as dark as War Color Gandalf, but Scale Color Gandalf's a different Gandalf. So you know what? That's kind of like Gandalf the Gray and Gandalf the White, right? And you guys have no idea what I'm talking about because you're not fucking nerds like me. God, watch my mouth, Zane. I'm gonna have to edit that one out for sure. That was real bad. I'm a construction worker though, so you guys should be, you know, get used to it. I do have foul language, but I'm trying to keep this channel in a way that, you know, it's something that I would allow my kids to watch. All right, so now we're gonna go on to the endurance brown, which we're gonna do on the leather and stuff, and I think I'm just gonna just put a little bit out there and do just a dab of it, because I'm not ready to do it all over everything. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mix the two to kind of try to do the sheath, or I might just go. I'm going to do different because I want to do the endurance brown just for the bag. So we're going to add a little bit right there, and we're going to clean that off, and then go back and add a little bit of this, and it is kind of a different color. I don't know, it's almost an orangey color, which is kind of what I've got for the sheath over there. Now how did I do the sheath? Did the sheath have a little, okay, sheath went all the way up, gold okay, gotcha. So we're gonna go all the way up here. Let me get a little closer here so you guys can see. Yeah, see, you know, I almost like that a little bit better, but unfortunately I do not think that I got enough made, because it looks like I speckled it again over here. So, but you know what, that speckling actually looks really good on that sheath. You know, you wouldn't think that it would, but it actually helps, you know, give it kind of a little bit of texture that you know, I wouldn't think that I would want, but you know, on something like this, it actually, you know, I really kind of actually like that. It actually worked in my favor for once. Kind of surprised there. I mean, it's not a super dark color. It is getting where I want it to be, though. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna zoom that back in, have you guys take a look at that, see what you guys think. Granted, we're not dry yet, so give it a minute. Okay, so like I said, it's I don't know if you guys can see that speckling quite as well as I can, but you know, like I said, on that, it looks good. And one thing I do notice right away is that compared to Warcolor Gandalf, I like the sheath a lot better. On a nice smooth surface, that turned out a lot better to me. Now to you, that might be a totally different story. Leave it in the comments and tell me, you know, heck no, I like Warcolor Gandalf better. That's fine. You're not going to hurt my feelings because I don't have any. But you're not going to really bother me too much on that. So go ahead and you let me know, because I want to know. I want to know what you guys think. Like I said, I like so far I like scale75 Gandalf a little bit better. So we're going to go with that right now. But you know, he's not even close to being done. So we're going to go a little bit. Right now it seems like I've been painting for about 20 minutes and not quite done with him yet. I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit more on his hand. Like I said, the speckling on his hand I do not care for, so we're getting rid of that now. Just a little bit. It was almost gone after that second coat, but I want to make sure it's nice and gone, so we're going to go with that. Let me see, what did I do? Did I paint eyebrows on him? I did paint little eyebrows on him. So we're going to try to get some little bit of eyebrows on him, but we're going to go ahead and I'm going to do it. I'm going to go ahead and put this light over that gray, because I think that will go ahead and actually help us out with a little bit different of a color than trying to go over this blue grayish color with it. Okay, so we like that. We're going to let that dry up a little bit for that, and then we're going to come back over it and go with that color there. And then I'm going to try to use, I'm going to use this brown up right now, this endurance brown for the leather areas. And so we're going to go over that. We're going to start here at his little pouch thing. We're not going to paint the little round circle here because I believe that's a button, and I'm going to make it a button, so it's going to be a nice red, or silver colored button when I get it done with. Oops, I didn't wick off my excess and made a little bit of a boo-boo there. There we go. So boo-boos are easily fixed by a little bit of wet paintbrush and a little bit of pull off. Take it off, smudge it off, get it off with the finger. There we go. That worked out all right. So make a little bit of a mistake, don't panic, just keep chugging along. Now I didn't make any kind of buckles or anything like that different on Warcolor Gandalf, so I'm not going to do anything different with this one. So, you know, I mean, I guess it's not buckles, but it's belt loops, I guess. We're not going to make them, sometimes I'll make them in a little bit different colors so they kind of stand out a little bit. We're not going to do that here. We're just going to go ahead and throw it on there. Oops. Apparently I didn't get quite... I missed a spot on my priming. Shh, don't tell anybody. It's a secret. I bet it sticks anyway. So there's enough around it. If not, I will fix it in post. Fix it in post. If you notice, I like to spin my guy upside down when I'm getting a little close on the side here. Bring that there. Over there by his fingers. There we go. Nice little doodad. This stuff's pretty easy to work with, I think. It's not too terribly hard. Like I said, it's probably a key to kind of, you know, definitely don't gloop it on. Don't do that. You kind of want to be a little bit more controlled with it. I think you will find way better luck with, you know, a little bit more control over what you're doing. I mean, but if you, that's just me, said if you know, have better luck glooping it on, then gloop it on. For, you know, do you, like I say, do you, man, do you. But I think I'm going to get better results by not doing that, by just slowly and methodically coming back and getting it exactly how I want it. So I think that's gonna really get me where I want to be. I'm gonna add a little bit more here in some places, you know, where I want it a little bit darker. You know, but really I don't think doesn't need it. That's just my personal preference. I think it looks pretty sharp the way it is. And then I got a little bit here and there, but I don't think it's enough, and it's dark enough color that it's really gonna mess anything up. I'm gonna try to dig out a little bit right here, but I might let it set too long. Looks like it. Alright, I had a little issue here, so didn't get recording back when I wanted to and just realized it. I did add a little bit more of this wild beast to a little bit of his, mostly to like some of the grooves and kind of the wood grainish color. I'm going to add a little bit more right here because one side got a little darker than the other to begin with, so I'm like kind of messed up there, so we're going to go ahead and I probably just added a little too much or whatever, so I added just a little bit here and there to kind of darken it up just a hair. It's still pretty light, but I don't think it changed it much. I still really like the color of it. And then I did get a little bit of this acrylic medium out to mix in with this Endurance Brown, and I was going to try to use for these boots. So let's work on these boots real quick and maybe change that just a hair. It'll be a little bit lighter brown leather than the darker brown that we've got on his pouches. I need to remember to make sure that you guys can see what I'm doing. Definitely gonna have to invest in this other camera if you guys enjoy watching my videos, because you won't be able to see anything otherwise. And it looks like I'm almost out of my brown. There's some kind of funky weird line there on my boot that I didn't notice when I was cleaning it up a little bit. Darn it. Not sure what I would have done with it. I mean, it kind of looks like a mold line, but I don't know how you would have gotten it out in the position that it's in, so but whatever. Like I said, I am going to definitely do a little something different with the mold lines. Make a video about that, because I hate them. And it's hard to find a good video on explaining exactly how to do it, so we're going to learn all together, and we're going to figure out how to do that on something like fingers. Never seems to fail that there is a mold line on my people's fingers, and it drives me bonkers. And I'm like, how are you supposed to really get this and make it look good? I've got my own kind of idea, and I think it works okay at best. So we'll see. That'll be much later down the road. Okay, so now as long as this hasn't dried up, no, it looks pretty good. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add those light highlights to the skin now, because it should be nice and dry. So we're gonna highlight the skin a little bit. See, I need to quit touching the end of that, because I think I'm rubbing the paint off as I'm doing this. But so I'm just gonna go over, the knuckles and the areas here that I want it to be a little bit brighter and kind of stand out a little bit. There you go, a little bit right there. A little bit on his half thumb. Must got it, cut off in some wizard accident or something. And got these really, really long, thin lines that are coming out. So it's like he's almost got bony hands. Which is alright. I got really big knuckles myself, so Gandalf has big knuckles too. Well, just shows how awesome I am, right? Okay, well, so far I think that light highlight of a little bit of highlight color is actually doing quite a bit for this. I mean, to me it's really bringing out a little bit of that. I like the control that I get with this paint. Actually, I can put just a little bit on, and to me, I think it's going to be, just enough for the highlight that it isn't going to overdo it. I feel that sometimes you put a highlight on, I felt like I was putting a little too much highlight on for boar color. It didn't blend quite as well or look quite as nice together on top of each other as I would have hoped. I mean, it looks good. I mean, you got it down here and you're game playing it, and war color Gandalf looks great, I mean, but I want to be able to pick them up, and I'm my worst critic by a long shot, so I'm going to look at it differently than, you know, you or me or my wife is going to look at it. So I really kind of like how that worked. I mean, it highlighted it, but it doesn't look too much. So let's get it up a little bit closer. Let's see if we can get a better look at Scale Gandalf's face. Let's see here. And see if you can't look at it. Look at his face. Look at it. I don't know if you're getting any of that or not. It's hard to tell on my little bitty screen on that camera that I'm looking at. I think I'm getting it pretty close. As you can kind of see where I'm going at with that. So I put highlights on his cheeks and on his nose and on his knuckles of his hands. And like I said, they're really subdued, so they're not super noticeable. And I might even come over here at this point. I think I'm going to go a little bit more on it. A little bit more on the knuckles. I think the face is pretty good, but I went ahead and I did a little bit on the lines in his fingers way back further and everything else. And I think that I want just his knuckles to brighten up, in his thumb here, tip of his thumb, just to be slightly brighter. And I think that if I just add just one little dot to each little knuckle here, that I'm not gonna overdo it. I think that his nose and his cheeks, maybe a little bit on his nose, maybe just the very tip of it. I think they look great. I think it looks excellent. I think it's right where it needs to be. So I'm enjoying that there. Been pretty long couple videos here. I don't know if I want to continue on yet. I probably won't. I'm probably going to wait. Man, I think I'm going to try to. We're going to pause for a minute with Gandalf. Go buy Gandalf, and we're going to try to get a different blue. We said we would do mana regeneration for his main hat and cloak, but I still want a different blue for his robe, I think is what we're going to call her. So I'm going to mix up this magic blue, and we're going to mix it up with maybe some of that acrylic medium, and see if I can't bring it down a notch or two, put it on something completely different. It might, I wish I had, I do. I got zombie gray. Zombie's still gray on most of them. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to thin it out a little bit more. So got a little bit of brown in that acrylic medium. I was going back and forth. I thought I was keeping it clean, but I don't think that's enough to make much of a difference on the color wise. But we're going to go about like that. And I mean, that did lighten it up one heck of a bit, and it's also going to flow it a little bit more, so it's going to have a little bit less flow to it. So I'm going to go over the gray part of this zombie, and tomorrow hopefully we will see whether or not this is going to be, we're going to say like, oh well, wow, that looks really great, I think that's going to be perfect for his robe. And or we're going to be like, wow, that looks like garbage, and that's not what I want for his robe. But I think just by looking at what it's coming out right now on our little guy here. I think that is going to look exactly how I want it to look like when it dries, because I think it's going to have a blue tint to it, but with the acrylic medium in there, it's lightened it up, and with the bluish gray with a couple, you know, white spots here and there, you know, on his knee and stuff like that, is going to make those points be a brighter blue. And I can also go back over it with a, you know, a little bit dark blue here or whatever there, and really change it up myself, kind of like how I did with, you know, go over it here and there, kind of like how I did with the zombie on the dark green, and or a different highlight here or there. But I think it is going to really bring that color out. I think it's really going to make it, you know, it's going to keep the grayness and not be too blue or be too gray. And I think that right now, looking at it from what it is, I think it looks great, and I think that's exactly what we want. So I'm gonna, you know, like I said, I do need the told roll, and then I needed the holder, and you know what, I'm gonna use it right there. Bam. So we're gonna zoom up on Zombie here, and he still looks pretty good with those darker highlights in his skin, and really that gray doesn't look too bad now that it's had a good time to dry. I painted his skin, or his bones skin color for some reason, but that's neither here nor there. So let's bring it in, focus it in. Oh, going the wrong way. Okay, a little too close, so let's, alright, so you see it is a blue up here at the top. It is a blue, but it is subdued, and it's not a really, really dark blue or a light blue, or a bright blue is what I meant. And I think that is going to work out perfectly for Gandalf's robe. So I think we've got it all decided, and that tomorrow we can get through this, and probably, if I get my paints out and they don't dry too fast, I'm going to have plenty of time and probably get Gandalf done, everything but his cloak. I mean, not his cloak, his gold and silver on his sword, or bronze and silver, or whatever. I think we'll get all the other colors good and done tomorrow, and he will look great, and we'll get this video hopefully loaded up before the end of the weekend onto YouTube, and you guys can tell me what you think.